4 by 13 FF rifles, later 9 FF. One company of this battalion was moved to Poonch in February 1948. This was Delta Company of the battalion commanded by Captain Nawaz Tewana, and the overall force was under command Brigadier Hayauddin, who was surprisingly promoted brigadier over the head of many seniors very early in the 1947-48 period, which remains a mystery. The orders were that Pakistan Army's troops would not be committed, and the force's tasks was to provide local protection to the artillery, which was part of the force. The remaining battalion was deployed in Jhangar area under 25 Brigade in May 1948. Here its Delta Company, earlier at Poonch, also rejoined the battalion. It was employed in the attack on Matlasi on 10th May 1948 by 25 Brigade, which was a complete failure. Here the battalion got involved in direct fighting with the Indian Army, and the battalion faced two Indian battalions supported by air power and considerable artillery, and faced 75 casualties. It received a thorough bashing in this battle. As you can see, 25 Brigade units, 4 by 14 Punjab, 3 by 12 FFR and 4 by 13 FF rifles are rushed to Jhangar area against the Indian spring offensive known as Operation Vijay. The Azad troops along with the battalion fled the battlefield according to the Pakistani official history, and 25 Brigade, as per the official history, lost control of the battle. In these circumstances, the battalion extricated itself with great difficulty. So this was Matlasi, where the Pakistani 25 Brigade received a thorough bashing and was repulsed with heavy losses. Of course, the official history blamed the Azads. However, as they say, the truth is always elusive in war, and no two battle accounts agree over who did what. However, the battalion maintained its cohesion and carried out a skillful withdrawal and was awarded about 25 gallantry awards. Important for us to note is that when I was in the second term in PMA, I had the honor of meeting Major Mehboob Niazi, the father of our dear friend Akbar Niazi from 9FF, who was the first officer in the Pakistan Army to be awarded a Sitara Jurat, and he belonged to this great battalion 9FF, which had very close affiliation with my regiment 11 Cavalry. When I was commissioned in 11 Cavalry in Kharian in March 1983, I could just walk in the 9FF mess just next to our mess and order the mess staff anything to be cooked or served, and there was no question of any refusal or any objection. Such was the closeness of 11 Cavalry with 9FF, with whom they had fought the 1965 war, although a bit rather too much disastrously at Philora, etc., and before that at Grand Slam. So with 9FF we had a very special affiliation, and Major Mehboob Niazi, father of Akbar Niazi, was the first Sitara Jurat. Although Matlasi was a disastrous battle, but the battalion was awarded heavily, and our dear friend Akbar's father, Major Mehboob Niazi, was the first Pakistani Sitara Jurat in history. Now the battalion was withdrawn to Rawalpindi on 29th May 1948 after the disaster at Matlasi. On 1st June 1948, the battalion was ordered to move to 101 Brigade area, where it was deployed at the Nangatak feature. As you can see, Nangatak feature is north of Pandu, and 4x13 FF rifles is inducted in the Jhelum Valley to protect left flank of the 101 Brigade on 1st June 1948. As you can see, this is the 4x10 Baluch, and 4x13 FF rifles is deployed at Nangatak to protect the left flank of 101 Brigade, while the great 2x1 Punjab under Adam Khan Military Cross is holding the Reshiyan Gully approach. As you can see, the prime role of the battalion here was to prevent Indian infiltration towards Reshiyan Gully, in which it was most successful. As you can see, because 2x1 Punjab had been mostly shifted later to the south after the disaster of 8FF. Now, on 20 June 1948, the battalion returned to Rawalpindi, and acting GOC of 7th Division, Brigadier Hayauddin, was guest of honor in the investiture ceremony held for gallantry awards being rewarded to the battalion. The battalion was again sent to Jhangar area on 1st October 1948. As you can see, 4x13 FF rifles is deployed to look after the area from Tandad to Baro in October 1948. This is the Jhangar area, as you can see, and the battalion was there in the remaining part of the 1948 war. 4x13 FF rifles was finally transferred to 14 Para Brigade, which was deployed in Bhimber to launch Operation Venus. This operation, as earlier discussed, was not launched. 9FF suffered 43 fatal casualties, the highest in all PIFR units, most of which were suffered in the disastrous Matlasi battle. One of the great battalions of the Pakistan Army, although unfortunately it inherited a difficult situation at Matlasi and due to no fault of its own suffered heavy casualties. Of course, there has always been question mark about the performance of the Azad forces and the tribal Lashkars at Matlasi, but we will never know the truth because all the sides blame each other.